From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening and welcome to the March 1st edition of Carolina Week. I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Jenny Beaver. Thank you for joining us for a look at Carolina events and issues. In the past year, sweatshops have been the focus of student protests here on the UNC campus. Carolina Week's Heather Higgins has details on the latest efforts to end this practice.
When do we want it? Now!
Some students at Carolina would rather be naked than wear clothes made in sweatshops. Sophomore Kristen Kerr joined the protesters.
It's a really visible way to get people to see that this is a problem.
Hats and sweatshirts like these bearing the UNC logo can be found all over the world. Students came out to protest the working conditions of where these items are made. In May of 1999, UNC joined the Fair Labor Association. For 1 year, UNC is helping the FLA meet the needs of universities and the licensing of school logos. The FLA and Workers' Right Consortium are two nonprofit organizations aimed at protecting the rights of apparel workers worldwide. These students want UNC to pull out of the FLA and join the WRC, because they say the WRC is better at protecting workers' rights. But according to the co-chair of UNC's Licensing Advisory Committee, Rutledge Tufts, the university is doing its best to make the right decision.
We have a licensing program for two reasons. Primarily, it's to control the use of the university's name. The second reason to have a licensing program, particularly for a school like ourselves, is because it generates revenues.
Tufts says a pilot experiment is in progress. University officials are investigating working conditions overseas to decide which organization they want to join.
It's a pilot that could fit, it would fit the WRC model, it would fit the FLA model, it would fit an independent, just university-driven model.
The outcome of the pilot program is due in May, and a decision on which organization UNC will join is expected before the end of the semester. UNC has some 580 different licensees, including Nike, that need to be considered when choosing which organization to join. Until UNC makes its decision, it looks as though these students will all be hoping for continued warm weather. In Chapel Hill, I'm Heather Higgins, Carolina Week.
UNC students aren't the only students protesting sweatshops. Students at the University of Wisconsin at Madison and the University of Pennsylvania have also been speaking out.
One phrase sums up makeup days at UNC-Chapel Hill: low attendance. Some students spent Sunday in class making up for class time missed in January after record-breaking snow. Buses ran on their normal schedule and the library had longer hours than normal, but many classrooms were empty. Some professors didn't hold class because they had already made up for lost time by rescheduling due dates or giving students extra out-of-class work. Sunday was the first of 3 makeup days here at UNC. The next school makeup day is Saturday, March 25th.
UNC-Chapel Hill students and the community don't mind dancing the night, morning, and day away for some children in need. The UNC Dance Marathon was held Friday and Saturday, with hundreds of people uniting to raise money for the North Carolina Children's Hospital. This fundraiser helps families who don't have insurance and can't pay for treatment. From 7 p.m. Friday to 7 p.m. Saturday, volunteers and participants played games, watched performances, and busted a move to support the children. Dance Marathon 2000 raised more than $70,000 for the Children's Hospital.
Campus organizations are joining forces to speak out against hate. Participants in a candlelight vigil earlier this week pledged to treat everyone with dignity and to continue to take a stand against all forms of hatred.
It was a mixed group of UNC-Chapel Hill students and local leaders who vowed to try to overcome hate in their community. The vigil was entitled Dignity for All, Fighting the Hate. It was designed to call attention to individual dignity and educate citizens that silence on the issue of hate is complicity.
We must openly acknowledge the inward prejudices and fears that we presently have.
Former UNC-Chapel Hill student and current pastor Stefan Sharpless was one of many speakers on hand. He's tired of the pain associated with hate.
Those of us who are incensed by it are tired. We're tired of either sitting idly by, or we're tired of feeling this pain without being able to help.
More than a year ago, attackers brutally pistol-whipped and killed Matthew Shepard. The 21-year-old student at the University of Wyoming died because he was gay. Alarmed by a growing number of hate crimes on college campuses, the Human Relations Committee of Carolina's student government organized this vigil to raise awareness. In addition to listening to speakers, students spoke to each other in small groups to learn more about hate crimes. Students then lit candles and recited a pledge to speak out against hate. Amit Matthews thinks that the vigil was a positive experience for all those involved.
It ties a lot of issues together, a lot of different groups that have, experienced different things. It kind of ties them all to a common cause.
The ceremony ended with students singing "We Shall Overcome" and signing an anti-hate banner.
Campus groups that sponsored the vigil include the Black Student Movement, the Campus Y, and the Queer Network for Change.
The UNC Army ROTC is under new command this week. On February 23rd, Lieutenant Colonel Frank Abbott became department chair of UNC's Army ROTC program in a ceremony held at the ROTC Armory. Abbott accepted command from Major Douglas Dysinger, who had been filling in since Lieutenant Colonel Jim Rhodes left in May 1998. Abbott said he was excited to be working with Carolina's ROTC, voted 1999's most outstanding Army ROTC program in the nation in the Small Army Division.
Gambling is not just a problem in Vegas and Indian casinos, it's also popular on our very own campus.
And before you place a bet on a Heels game, you may want to watch our next report. That story's coming up.
UNC-TV brings you the best seat in the house, yours.
With the arrival of March Madness in the NCAA basketball tournament, college gambling is taking center court.
Casino life, full of glitz, glamour, and high-dollar winners, as seen here in the movie Casino. But there's a darker side to gambling that is hitting college campuses across the nation. It's not the glitter of casinos, it's the sweat of the basketball court and the football field that is drawing students into college sports gambling. Former director of the New Jersey Council on Compulsive Gambling, Robert Klein, says it's time for people to open their eyes and not their wallets.
We see that in high school, for example, 4 to 6% of high school students are compulsive gamblers. In colleges, it's higher. It's probably 6 to 8% of students have a problem. And what is needed is education.
UNC junior Matt Norman says he doesn't believe college sports is a problem.
Most of the people I deal with just do it for fun. It's money they have, and they're willing to lose.
Recent studies have shown that more money is spent on college sports gambling than on alcohol around college campuses. Klein says that betting on college sports has become such a major issue that it needs to be addressed.
And that many people just don't understand what this is all about. It's not a matter of willpower. It's an addiction, it's an emotional disorder.
Klein supports Senator John Edwards' newly proposed bill to outlaw college gambling, but Norman thinks the bill is downright ridiculous.
Everyone should have, get to bet on college sports if they want to. I don't think it's that big of a problem.
Despite Norman's beliefs, college gambling is on the rise. Bookies are on every campus waiting to take your bet and your money. All it takes is a simple phone call or a click of a mouse. Klein says until people are made more aware, gambling will remain a campus problem.
Most Americans pay their bills the old-fashioned way, but paying those bills can be just a mouse click away. Americans receive more than 20 billion bills each year. That's about 160 bills per family. Paying bills online is gaining popularity as more banks offer online services. Neil Wolfson of Fleet Boston Financial says online banking saves consumers a lot of time.
I mean, the average consumer can spend up to an hour a month paying their bills. With HomeLink and online bill payment, you can pay 10, 15, 20 bills in a matter of a few minutes. You don't need stamps. You don't have to go to the post office. You can just do it all online. So it's really a convenience factor for consumers.
Bankers charge up to $9 a month for service, but according to Jupiter Communications, the average U.S. household spends more than $15 a month on stamps and checks. So online bill paying could save you time and money.
It seems like students always have something to buy: food, clothing, books. And now some campus libraries and computer labs are adding one more thing to the list. Every day in libraries and computer labs across campus, students print thousands of pages. Even though signs warn against printing multiple copies, reams of paper disappear. Pages are also wasted when people don't pick up their print orders. The paper ends up in the recycling barrels. All of the waste has prompted some libraries and labs to charge for printing. So far, it appears that has cut down on the amount of wasted paper.
Though February is the shortest month of the year, it's the longest time during which we take a concentrated look at the contributions of African Americans. Carolina Week's Kimberly Stewart gives us a closer look at what Black History Month means.
Martin Luther King's dream still lives in many Americans, particularly African Americans. Every February we celebrate Black History Month. Yosha People says the events that take place during Black History Month help us all think about the future.
I think that's a stepping stone. It's a start to educating our children about Black history.
For Candace Walton, it's about learning.
February is mainly the time that whites do learn a lot about African Americans that they haven't learned previously.
And for Nadera Malika Salam, every month is Black History Month.
I think if people took that time to reevaluate the way that they think, then maybe they could spend the rest of the year trying to change that.
Events featuring inspirational speakers, jazz festivals and musicians, and pictures depicting history make people everywhere conscious of our cultural differences and similarities.
It's a speech familiar to all Americans. Martin Luther King gave inspiration to those who had ever felt oppressed, whether you were white or black. February is a month to reflect on achievements, but every month should be a time to act on his dream.
The Black Culture Center is one place UNC-Chapel Hill students learn about African American culture, but some students see no need to celebrate this month.
It's good to help other people that want to learn about their culture, but as far as my culture, I don't see that it influences mine any.
It may just be another month to some, but for others it's a special time for African Americans to work toward fulfilling a dream. In Chapel Hill, I'm Kimberly Stewart, Carolina Week.
Throughout the year, the Black Cultural Center offers a wide variety of events such as speakers, music, and diversity meetings.
With weather like this, it seems some are trying to get a head start on their tan for spring break.
But will this weather last? Our weathercaster Kimberly Stewart will tell us when we return.
Thank you.
The steps of Wilson Library receive no sunshine on early winter mornings, so it's chilly there if you don't have that double-shot caramel espresso. Surrounded by forever green magnolias, the steps are a fine place to study, or at least pretend to, while you watch a border collie chase a frisbee in the quad. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. We have ignition. We have liftoff. Join the next mission aboard the Moorhead Planetarium. For more information on Sky Rambles, call 549-6863.
So Kimberly, tell me, do I get a chance to lounge by the pool this weekend?
Well, if you have a pool, that'll be great because we have some good weather in store for our weekend, and hopefully heading into March, we'll have pretty March spring weather. So now looking into our weather question, we have one that kind of ties into last week. Which one of the following is the safest place to be in a tornado? Is it A, under a bridge, B, in a mobile home, C, in a car trying to outrun the tornado, or D, in a basement or a downstairs bathroom? The answer at the end of our forecast. This may remind you of Hurricane Floyd and the massive flooding in eastern North Carolina. This time, however, tragedy struck the African nation of Mozambique. Cyclone Elan hit the African coast on February the 22nd. What you see here is a woman being rescued after she gave birth while stranded in a treetop. Luckily, both mom and child were saved from the torrential floods. The country's rescue equipment is running short, but the U.S. is trying to help out with the recovery efforts. Our city of the day is Greensboro, North Carolina, which is a little change from the foreign cities we've been previewing. The importance of this city, the site of the ACC Women's Basketball Tournament. This weekend, our Lady Hills will enjoy close to 70-degree afternoons and not too cold temperatures in the evenings. So go Hills and hope the weather gives you good luck. On Friday, we have a high of 60 degrees with increasing clouds into the evening and possibly some scattered showers that would taper off by Saturday. But not too bad of a weekend because Saturday and Sunday, our highs are in the low 60s, which is above average for this time of the year. And Monday, we hit that 70-degree mark we've all been waiting for in our Carolina blue skies. But don't get into shorts and tank tops too quickly because, as most of you know, March is one of the windiest months of the year. And this wind can make temperatures a little colder than what is forecast. And don't forget, winter isn't officially over until the end of March. But those who own ski resorts in the mountains hope there are still a few cold days left in the winter. If these temperatures just keep rising and ski slopes keep melting. So now it's not the best time to take an extended ski trip. Heading into the beach, it may be a perfect time for here. There's not much of a difference in our forecast and weather, but it can be a little getaway for some of us feeling that midterm exam stress. Don't go swimming yet because that water is only about 50 degrees, which is pretty cold. Well, if you've had time to think about your answer, and some of you may have guessed without hesitation, the answer is D, in a basement. The most dangerous place is actually to be in your car, unless you're one of those highly qualified storm chasers. So we don't have that much bad weather in our forecast, and all we have to worry about is making use of our beautiful weekend.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Kimberly. For the basketball fans, Carolina basketball will be banging on the Blue Devil doors again this weekend.
And they're hoping to repay those Durham guys for laying a home loss on the Heels. We'll preview Saturday's clash next.
The Ronald McDonald House is a nonprofit organization that provides a home away from home for families of children being treated at UNC hospitals. Since opening in 1988, the house has welcomed more than 1,000 families each year to stay at this safe haven. The house relies heavily on community support. How can you help? Become a volunteer. Help the house that love built. The Ronald McDonald House, the house with a heart.
Don't get mad at me. Don't. I didn't mean to do it, okay? Please.
I'm
just don't get mad this time.
Questions. Why are you jumping to conclusions?
Please.
Well, I haven't done anything. I'm
Please,
just asking you a
don't
few
hurt me.
questions.
Stop hitting her!
You're pitiful.
Stop it! No!
Change is possible. Call the Family Counseling Service at 403-3534. We can help.
So, TD, tell me, are those Blue Devils ready for a fight?
Yeah, do we have much of a chance?
Well, St. John's proved that Duke is beatable, but it remains to be seen if the Tar Heels are the team that can beat Duke. Well, the good guys go to Geekland this weekend as the Carolina men's basketball team travels up 15-501 to take on arch rival Duke Saturday afternoon. Carolina played perhaps its best half of basketball all season against the Blue Devils in the Dean Dome a month ago, as the Tar Heels came back from a 17-point second-half deficit to tie the score at the end of regulation before finally falling in overtime. This time around, the setting will be just a bit different with that obnoxious Cameron crowd waiting to greet the Heels. Duke has beaten Carolina 3 straight times in Durham, but Coach K's club will be without sixth man Mike Dunleavy, who's out for the rest of the season with mono. And though it may be hard to believe during these trying Tar Heel times, Mike Krzyzewski is still just 19-28 against UNC since taking over the Duke program back in 1980. Sweet revenge for the Tar Heel women's basketball team. After suffering a 53-point loss to Duke on January 27th, the Lady Tar Heels won by 9 against those same Blue Devils this past Sunday. Nikki Teasley ran the show offensively with 16 points and 6 assists. Those numbers helped her win ACC Player of the Week. Even still, Duke kept it close throughout. But in the end, some tough defense and great shooting from people like Wanda Brown and Jackie Higgins, combined with clutch free throw shooting, got them the win. The Tar Heels finish 8-8 in the conference and take on Clemson in the ACC tournament Saturday. Well, we know there's pressure on the Tar Heel men's basketball team to finish third in the ACC, but the Carolina men's swimming program streak of finishing third or better in the league remains intact. UNC finished second in the ACC championships during the weekend, well behind a dominant Virginia squad, but the Tar Heels still have never placed lower than third in the tournament's 47-year history. The lone Carolina win was freshman Sean Quinn's record-breaking performance in the 200-meter breaststroke. Virginia's All-American Ed Moses was disqualified in the prelims, opening the door for Quinn to take the title.
I figured, Ed Moses, is pretty much guaranteed an ACC championship. I thought maybe my senior year, if I'm lucky enough, maybe I'd pull it off then. But circumstances, changed this morning, and this afternoon I gave it a lot of thought, and I really wanted to win it.
The hottest team on campus continues its meteoric rise to the top of the polls. Tar Heel baseball earned a number 3 national ranking and 2 first-place votes in the ESPN USA Today poll after a weekend 3-game sweep of Seton Hall. The wins, by scores of 8-0, 15-8, and 7-5, were aided by an error-filled Pirate defense. ACC Co-Player of the Week Ryan Erie also helped the cause with 2 homers, 10 RBI, and some timely pitching. The Tar Heels now have 13 wins, no losses, and are ranked in the top 10 of all 3 major polls. The UNC gymnastics team remains perfect at home this season after taking care of William & Mary last Friday night. The Tar Heels recorded the 4th highest team score in school history. Brooke Wilson led the way for Carolina, placing first in every event en route to winning the all-around individual competition. During her floor exercise, Wilson became only the third gymnast in NCAA history to complete a front handspring front flip with a full twist. And the Tar Heels conclude their home schedule Friday night in a tri-meet against Towson and Yale. And of course, that, like all the gymnast meets, are at Carmichael, and worth a couple hours of your time. Not only do you see an improving team, but Brooke Wilson is one of the best gymnasts in the country.
Always setting records. And for the Duke's Mike Dunleavy, since he's down, maybe and other NCAA teams are increasing their chances of beating ranked teams, maybe we have a chance to beat Duke. What do you?
Well, I hope so, Fred. I mean, we haven't been playing too well of late, but hopefully the whole rivalry thing will bring out the best in the Heels.
Okay, well, thank you for sports, TV. Daytona used to be famous for its beach driving.
But now the city is putting the brakes on this pastime. The story when Carolina Week continues.
I wonder how Silent Sam feels about guarding the university from groups of third-grade kids. Maybe he's lost interest. We haven't heard his rifle fire recently. Still he stands, a steadfast defender of something. What is it? No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Hey, Mark, where are you going with your piggy bank? I'm going to give my allowance to the Interfaith Council. Why? Mom says they help people, and they need our help, too.
The Interfaith Council helps adults and children through job training, family support, and education. They can't survive without community support. Every donation counts.
I want to help, too.
Call the Interfaith Council at 929-6380.
Hey, there are a lot of ways we can help our community. Spending our money in Orange County, whether it's filling up the car or shopping at local businesses, helps maintain our roads, improves our children's schools, and creates jobs. Spending your money locally helps us all in a big way. So remember, shop Orange first.
Mother taught me. She's
averaging 18%. Balance the budget. Increasing clouds for...
UNC TV. Your remote stops here.
Spring breakers driving to Daytona Beach this year will have to stick to the pavement. Before the city passed a new law, drivers could go for a spin on the beach, but now a condominium and a shopping center will occupy a mile-long stretch of sand, and the four-wheelers that used to drag on the beach must now find a new place to cruise. Daytona Beach attracts thousands of college students every spring. Students escaping assignments and exams will now have just a wee bit smaller slice of sand to lounge on under the sun.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week. I'm Jenny Beaver.
And I'm Fred Shropshire. Thanks for joining us. Good evening.
Good night.
By mail at Campus Box 3365 or at carolinaweek@unc.edu.